Hey guys, today in this video, we are going to audit a brand that roughly makes $100 million every single year. And we will see how much money they are leaving on the table due to their storefront. But before I start, I want to ask you a question. How many problems do you think you would find on a $100 million brand? Take a guess. One, two, or maybe three. Because most people assume that once a brand reaches a certain size, they have figured out everything. The storefront is optimized, the customer journey is polished, every page is tested, every detail has been refined. But that's rarely how e-commerce work, because growth can come from a great product, great marketing, great brand awareness, a loyal customer base. And sometimes those things are powerful enough to hide the problems that have been sitting on the storefront for years, which today brings us the Z Supply in this video. Actually, I recently came across this California-based clothing brand called Z Supply. By most measures, this is an incredibly successful brand. They are reportedly doing roughly around $100 million every single year. They are attracting around half a million visitors every single month. And they have been spending heavily to acquire customers. Currently, while recording this video, they are running around 350 meta ads. But as I started going through their store, I noticed various friction points which are costing this brand hundreds and thousands of dollars, if not millions. So in this video, we are going to walk through the store exactly like a customer would. We will go from the home page to the collections page to the product page and to the cart. And at every step, I will show you what's working, what's creating friction, and most importantly, how to fix that. Because this video isn't really about Z Supply. This video is about how customers shop online, and Z Supply just happened to be today's example. So, if you are a founder, you will start noticing these patterns on your store as well. And if you are a designer or a developer, you will start noticing the difference between designing a beautiful site versus designing something that sells. And if someone from the Z Supply happens to watch this isn't a criticism, it's an opportunity because every brand, no matter how successful, has a room to improve. And to make that obvious, we will compare Z Supply against top D2C brands like Zara, Gymshark, and other stores that I have personally worked with. So let's get into it. So we finally land on their homepage, and immediately something feels off. Not because the site looks bad, or I must say that the photography is really consistent and strong, and the products themselves look really great. But what look closely, what homepage is actually asking me to do? It's asking me to make decisions, and to be honest, tons of them. New arrivals, shop bottoms, dresses, sets. The homepage is basically acting like a table of content, and that's the problem. Because when someone lands on your store, they are not trying to organize information. They are trying to discover something they want. This reminds me of a really famous book, Don't Make Me Think, in which there's a principle. Every extra decision creates friction. Every extra choice creates effort. And every extra effort is dangerous when attention span is measured in seconds. Think about it walking into a mall. Imagine the first thing that you saw is a giant signboard listing different stores. There's not a single product outside of any store, just directions. You will probably keep walking. And that's essentially what's happening here. The homepage tells me exactly where to go, but it does not give me anything to desire. Now compare that to a Gymshark. Let's go to the Gymshark. Look, they don't start with category. They start with the product and show the featured collection over here. And within seconds, you're already imagining yourself wearing something. And that's the difference. One creates desire and another creates navigation. And the desire should always come first because nobody buys a category. People buy products. So the fix simple here is place a featured collection on the homepage as well. Show bestsellers or show what's trending. Get the visitor something they want before you ask them where to go. So the lesson is simple here. Don't make people think or make tons of decisions on your store. So let's keep moving. Let's go into a collection. For example, let's go to the bottoms. So now we are on the bottoms collection. Now we are doing what most fashion shoppers actually do. We are browsing to see various options, and this one is important stage in entire customer journey, because shopping for clothing is largely a visual activity. People want to scan, they want to compare, they want to eliminate options, discover alternatives. And the easier that process feels, the more products they will see. And generally speaking, the more products someone sees, the higher chances are they will eventually find something they would love. Now let's switch to the mobile breakpoint. All right. This is where the first major friction appears. Take a guess what I mean. All right. Let me tell you what I mean. I can see the product, I can see the photography, and I can see the price, and I can see the variants, but I cannot actually buy anything from this page. In order to buy anything, I have to uh, tap on the product to wait for the product page to load, select the size, add to bag, wait, go back, wait for the collection page to reload, find where I left, and then repeat that process entirely for the next item itself. It doesn't sound that much, but think what just happened. A customer who wants to browse casually and wants to add some products he likes, but he is now being forced into a multi-step process for every single product. And that's a lot of effort, and efforts compound. Uh, this is where the brands like Zara and the Gymshark gets it right. Let's move to the Zara's website. Let's move to the mobile breakpoint. When I'm browsing Zara's collection, I can add products directly from the grid itself. One tap, select the pricing, continue browsing. One tap, select the price variant. The shopping flow never breaks. The customer stays in the discovery phase. And this is important, um, because browsing and buying are two different states. Because when someone is browsing, you want them to keep browsing. I don't want to constantly force them an individual products page. And every unnecessary transition is a chance to lose momentum. And momentum is everything in e-commerce. And the fix is simple here. Just add a quick add to cart button with the option to select the variant, and let the customer add products without leaving the browsing experience. And the less effort means more products viewed. More products viewed and added means high conversion rate. Let me just switch to the desktop breakpoint back. Okay, this is where I get surprised again. The product cards are huge. At first glance, it sounds like a design choice, but actually, it's a usability issue, because shopping is not just looking at the product, it's about comparing. When I'm buying clothes, I'm constantly asking questions: which looks better? Which color do I prefer? Which one feels worth the price? Comparison is the job. But comparison becomes difficult when every product takes half of the screen on a typical 13-inch laptop, which is the most common screen size in the world. I cannot comfortably scan the multiple products at once. If I try to view the price of an individual card, I cannot see the full photography of the product. So instead of evaluating, the result is fewer comparisons and less efficient browsing. Now compare that to Zara. Let's move the desktop. The grid is denser. You can evaluate multiple products simultaneously. Your eyes move horizontally instead of vertically. You can process more in less time. And that matters because commerce is often the game of reducing the efforts by tiny percentage. And shopper who sees 30 products is much more likely to find something he would love than a shopper who just sees 10. Now, notice something interesting. Neither of these issues has anything to do with aesthetics. The photography is really good. The products are also amazing. The brand is good. The problem is friction. One issue adds extra step, the other makes comparison harder. And the pattern you will see, the site isn't failing because it really looks bad. The site is leaking performance because it keeps asking customers to do slightly more work than necessary. And small amount of work repeated hundreds and thousands of times becomes really expensive. Now let's move to the place where desire actually turns into purchase. Let's move to a product page. All right, this is where things get interesting. Now, as we are on the product page, this is where things get serious. The home page create the interest. The collections page create the curiosity. The product page is where money gets made. This is the moment where shoppers stop browsing and they start evaluating. They are asking questions now. Do I like it? Do I trust it? Is it worth the price? And should I buy it right now? And because the purchase intent is higher here, even small amounts of friction can become expensive. So let me just walk you through it. Let's move to the mobile breakpoint as most of the traffic for this brand is comes from mobile. Okay, okay. Can you notice the issue? Most people won't subconsciously notice it, but they can feel it. On mobile, the product pricing sits at the top near the product title, and the add to cart button sits further down. That means when I'm looking at the price, I cannot see the button. And when I'm looking at the button, I cannot see the pricing. This sounds intelligent. Think about the same exact moment someone decides to buy. They are making a value judgment. They are asking themselves, do I want this enough to spend this amount? So the pricing and the purchase actions are the part of the same decision. They should belong together. Yet on this page, they are separated. So once you start reading reviews, reading about product description, before you add to bag, I have to remember what price it was. That introduces something called recall. A good UX principle tries to avoid recall whenever possible. And there's a famous usability principle called recognition beats recall. People shouldn't have to remember information when you can simply keep it visible. Every time memory becomes part of the experience, efforts increase, and effort is a friction. So the fix is really simple. Just keep the pricing and the add to cart visible together always. So when the moment someone is ready to buy something, that should be the easiest moment in the entire experience, not the hardest. Let me just show you the example of Zara how they do it. Okay, can you notice the price and the add to cart sits together even if I scroll. So this is what good UX looks like. Now let's move back to our site. Let's move to the desktop breakpoint now. Let's look at something that seems smart. The product page includes pair with section. And honestly, it's a great idea. If someone is looking at a bottom, you showing them the matching top, that's good merchandising. The problem is what happens next or what doesn't happen next. Because when I see a recommended product, I cannot quickly add them. To buy it, I have to leave the page. I had to open the recommended product, wait for it to load, review it, add to bag, and go back to the product which I was looking. So the store figured out what I might like next, but it failed to at the easy part, making the recommendation actionable. And a recommendation only creates revenue if people can act on it immediately. Every extra click lowers the chance that it happens. And the fix is obvious. Just add a quick add button over here with options to select the variant. And that's it. So if you have convinced me that I might want it, then don't make me work to get it. So let me just show you an example of Zara how they do it. Can can you see? I can easily add any product easily over here. This is how. good UX looks like. Now let's move back to our site. Now let's keep scrolling. Okay, I can notice the third issue as well. I think it was third or the fourth issue. I don't remember. Now, as we keep scrolling, we will eventually reach at the bottom. And this is where the issue appears. No related products, no alternate styles, no more information about the collection. Sorry, about the product, and no recommendation. This journey simply ends here. A customer is highly engaged. They are looking at the product, they are showing intent, and the store responds by giving them nowhere to go. And that's a missed opportunity because not every shopper buys the first product they see. When someone is interested, but they are not convinced yet, maybe they are still exploring. That's why related products becomes valuable. They keep discovery alive. Without them, a back button becomes the primary navigation tool, and that's dangerous because every time a customer hits back, you are relying on them to continue the journey themselves. And good commerce guides people forward. It does not ask to figure out what comes next. And look at a Zara itself. You look Zara, Gymshark, or any modern commerce. The product page never truly ends. And there's always another option, another suggestion. So this is how good commerce looks like. Now let's go back. What is fascinating about this page is none of these issues are catastrophic. There's not a giant bug. Nothing is broken. Nothing prevents the purchase. But that's exactly dangerous. It can be hidden easily. Each issue removes tiny amount of momentum, a tiny amount of trust, tiny amount of convenience. And when hundreds and thousands of visitors experience those tiny losses every month, they add up to real money. So product page should be doing one thing, making it easier to say yes. Instead, in several places, it accidentally makes customers work to say yes. So now let's add this product to the cart. Let's do a person is now interested. He wants to buy this product now. Let's add to bag. I think there's also a minor bug over here. As I hover over the button, it hides the text. So never mind. Let's add the product. Okay, let's select the variant, add to bag. Okay, we are on the cart now. This is the moment every brand spends money trying to create. Think about what has happened. Let's imagine a scenario. A customer saw an ad, clicked on that ad, landed on the product, evaluated the item, and finally added that item to the cart. That single click is one of the strongest buying signal a customer can give. They are no longer just interested, they are considering the ownership. And that's why what happens next matters so much. Because right now, card is probably the biggest missed opportunity on their entire store. The card drawer almost does nothing. So what just happened? I just happened to click on add to bag. The card drawer slides in. I see the selected item and the total subtotal at the bottom. There are no recommendations, no styling suggestions, no complementary products, no attempt to increase the average order value. I mean, nothing like that. And that's surprising because cart is one of the most highest intent location in e-commerce. At this point, customer has already demonstrated buying behavior. They have literally told you, yes, I want it. And the store responds by staying completely silent. Now compare that to Zara or any other high converting D2C brand. Let's say that I add this product into the cart. You see, you may be interested in this. It shows matching lowers, different shirts. I mean, exact recommendations that matters. So they sell to the intent when the desire is highest, and that's when additional offers perform the best. Not before, not after. Right there. Now let's put some numbers behind this, and you will see how much impact it can create for the Z supply. Let's say that, let's check. The Z supply receives 500K monthly visitors. This is a rough estimate, it's not exactly. Let's say that their conversion rate is 1.5%, and that's around 7,500 orders. Now imagine that we increase the average order value by just $10. That's not aggressive. That's just one accessory, extra accessory, and so basic tea or something like that. Let's do some math. Let me pull the calculator. All right. That is $75,000 every single month, roughly 900K every year from a single optimization. Now obviously the true numbers can be different. So small increase in average order value becomes enormous at scale. That's why ignoring the cart is so expensive. Now, another thing that I noticed here, there's no shipping bar over here. You see here, it is saying that free shipping on the orders above $75. But I cannot see it anywhere here that is saying me something like you are you have crossed the minimum threshold for free shipping. Let me just show you an example of my client where I created that progress bar. Let's go to the Gymshark. Let me just let's as we are on the Gymshark, let me just show you. You see over here, you are $65 away from free shipping. You see, this is how a good UX, a high converting D2C store looks like. Because even if we add recommendations, we are still missing something critical. That is motivation. Let's say that a customer adds a product and opens the cart, and they see how far I am away from free shipping. The store doesn't tell me anything related to that. There is no progress indicator, no visual goal, no message saying that you are $20 away, no something like unlock your free shipping, and that's a huge opportunity missed. Now, suddenly a customer isn't thinking, should I spend more money? They're thinking, I'm just already $15 away. And that's a very different conversation. And this is why free shipping bar and cross sell should never be viewed as a separate feature. They work together. The progress bar provides us the reason to buy more. The recommendations provide the solution. One creates the opportunity and another creates the motivation. Together, they become significantly more powerful than a single feature alone. So, at the end, I would say that what we learned from this card, the biggest mistake most brands make is treating the cart as the end of the journey, but it isn't. It's the beginning of the final decision. Customer hasn't purchased anything yet. They are evaluating, they are deciding, they are still open to influence. And that's why the best e-commerce brands use this cart strategically, not aggressively, but strategically. They remove the doubt, increase the value, and create the momentum, and make checkout feel like the obvious next step. Because the easiest customer to sell to is one who has already decided to buy something. Right now, Zsuply card isn't helping the process. It's simply observing it. And when you are operating at scale, that observation is expensive. So everything we have talked so far has been visible. You can see it, you can click it, you can experience it as a customer. But there's another level of e-commerce that customer never sees, and that's foundation, the infrastructure underneath the storefront. While customer doesn't interact it with directly, but it influences almost everything we have discussed in this video so far. Because a good foundation makes improvement easier. A weak foundation makes improvement expensive. And this is where the final issue appears. The store is built on an aging architecture. The supply is built on a slate architecture. You can see over here. Now, if you are not technical, it probably means absolutely nothing. And honestly, it doesn't need to, because it isn't really about coding. It's about flexibility. Several years ago, Shopify introduced online stores 2.0. This became a new standard for building a modern Shopify experiences. It introduces flexible sections, app blogs, better customization, easier content management, and generally made stores easier to improve over time. Because a commerce isn't a one-time project. It's an ongoing process. You are constantly testing, refining, optimizing, adding additional features, improving conversion rate, launching campaigns, updating experiences. The store that wins usually are the stores that improve faster. And this is where this old architecture is creating the problems. Uh, Architecture that has been that is no longer being supported by the Shopify. So let's move on forward. Actually, there are a lot of more things we could talk about on the site. Small usability issues, small design inconsistencies, small trust signals that could be improved. But honestly, if we cover every single in this video, it would end up being an hour long. So instead of turning this into a full website audit, let's stop here and focus on the bigger lessons. Because the goal isn't to memorize every mistake. The goal is to understand the pattern and the reason behind them. So let's zoom out because this part is what matters the most. You have noticed that we didn't talk about logos, we didn't talk about colors, we didn't talked about typography, and we didn't talked about design preference. And that's important because e-commerce conversions often gets trapped in aesthetics. People argue about design trends, button styles, whether something looks modern, whether something looks premium, but none of those things were the biggest opportunities in the site. The biggest opportunities were the friction that appeared again and again across homepage, across collections page, across product pages, across cart. The same pattern kept on repeating. Small moments where customer had to work harder than necessary. And the conversion rate is often nothing but the sum of all the friction points on the site. So remove enough friction and the conversion goes up. Add any friction and the conversion goes down. That's how actually the conversions happens on the storefront. So let's move to the lessons now. So if you remember nothing else from this video, just remember these four lessons. The first one is sell to intent. The strongest buying signal happens on the product page and in the cart. This is why merchandising matters the most. This is why recommendations matter the most. And this is why additional products should appear. Don't wait until the customer leaves. Help them where their desire is the highest. The second one is remove the friction. Every extra click, every extra page, every extra decision, and every extra step. It adds up. Customer shouldn't have to work to buy from you. The best commerce experiences just feel effortless. Now, coming to the third one, reduce the mental effort. People shouldn't have to remember information. They shouldn't have to figure out what to do next. They shouldn't have to think harder than necessary. The clearer the experience becomes, the stronger the performance becomes. It starts rhyming. So another one is the protect the trust. Trust isn't one feature. It's built through hundreds of details. Consistent design, polished experience, clear communication, responsive layouts. Every detail either strengthens trust or weakens it, and the trust compounds over time. At last, I would say that uh, what I find reassuring about this is the brand is reportedly doing $100 million a year, and still there are plenty of opportunities to improve. And that's important because a lot of founders think that successful brands have figured out everything. Well, they don't. Nobody does. Every store has blind spots, every store has friction points, and every store has opportunities. The difference is simpler whether someone is looking for them. So, at last, I would say that if you are interested in building a store that doesn't just look good but also perform better, just subscribe and stick around. And thank you. And I hope this video was helpful. Until next time, bye. Have a great day.